Hi all, today we go north as we head up Manchester and take a look at its truly impressive tram system, the Metrolink. The Manchester Metrolink network is formed of 7 lines spread across 103 kilometers of tracks, or 64 miles. The network is operated by the Greater Manchester Passenger Transport Executive, better known as GMPTE, with a fleet of 100 high-floor M5000 Flexity Swift trams built by Bombardier. These entered service in 2009. Originally, services were operated by the awful-looking T68 trams built by Ansaldo Breda and which entered service with the network in 1992. These were finally retired, and thankfully, from service in 2014. Uniquely for a relatively modern tram system, the Metrolink uses high-floor vehicles, which have high top speeds. This is because outside of the city centre, trams sometimes run on previous abandoned British rail alignments. Some tram stops in Manchester on the newly built sections featured low platforms, and so trams were fitted with retractable steps, even though all stops have now been upgraded to high platforms, so the retractable steps weren't included on the newest tram models, the M5000s. These were built by Bombardier Transportation, now Alstom, and Voslo Keep from 2009 onwards. Even though they were originally designed to operate in Manchester, they've also been put into service on the Cologne Stadtbahn in Germany. These can operate couple sets to allow for higher capacity during rush hour with up to 2 units to form a 4-car consist. This is denoted by the DBL indication on the dot matrix display at all tram stops. Technically, they could also operate with 3 or even 4 units coupled together, but this is only simply done in case of a tram breaking down or any similar issue. Another distinct feature of these trams is the horn. This last one has kind of become an icon of the Metrolink network. The sound is actually a recording of the air chime whistles that you had on the T68. Daily ridership on the network is on average 120,000 passengers. These numbers, of course, come from 2019, 2020 and not 2021, because why would you use pandemic ridership numbers? And because the system's quite good and became popular, ridership has been continuously growing in the past few years. Well, at least it was before the pandemic. And yes, the system is quite good and quite the opposite to the Sheffield Supertram, which I've already talked about in a previous video. Generally, frequencies are pretty high all day long, and the choice of high-floor vehicles was an excellent one, as these allow for higher top speeds and allow for more capacity because you don't literally have a bogie intruding into the train's passenger cabin. If you want to know more about choosing high or low-floor vehicles for a tram or light rail system, RM Transit already made a video about it, link in the top right corner. Anyways, the system is really an example that many other British cities could follow, especially Liverpool, which currently lacks any form of true electric rail rapid transit network apart from Merseyrail. But Merseyrail isn't true rapid transit either, as it just cannot compete with Metrolink when it comes to frequency. For example, the most infrequent Merseyrail lines, the Southport and Hunts Cross lines, run hourly during the week, and the most infrequent Metrolink lines run every 12 minutes at worst all day long. Now, even though 12 minutes may sound quite bad, and don't get me wrong, it still is, that's still much better than hourly for a rapid transit system. To be fair though, the 12 minutes headways we're seeing at the moment is because of the pandemic, and the most frequent lines still run every 6 minutes most of the day, and sometimes even more during rush hour. Now, what about expansion plans of the system? Well, for the moment, nothing official is underway. However, there are some talks about introducing tram trains, which is a very bad idea, and I've talked about it in the Sheffield video. But also of creating a loop line around Wythenshawe and a new line to Stockport. A second line through Manchester city centre is also in the planning stages to relieve the current single one, which has become a major bottleneck and makes it impossible for some routes to operate much more frequently than they currently do. This line would also be built as a tunnel for further capacity. Such a project could be compared to what has been undertaken in Karlsruhe in Germany with the new city centre tunnel to separate the surface trams and the Stadtbahn. There is also another plan to extend the trams further from the current Manchester Airport rail station to Terminal 2, passing right through the airport. The idea here isn't only to provide better and more direct access to Manchester's airport, but also to serve new development in the area. So this is it. To conclude, I'd say the Metrolink is really an impressive system. It's also a system I want to hate and love at the same time. I love its rolling stock, even though a lot of people actually hate it, and the fact it's so extensive, and it also shows how electric rail rapid transit can be built fairly quickly and fairly cheaply also if you make an effort and put your minds through it, and many other British cities should definitely take this lead too. However, I think the system could still improve frequency on some routes, and generally continue this impressive wave of expansion, which has now more or less come to an end. So, thank you for watching, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time. Bye.